Hello and welcome to Cockatoos with attitude and wings. They have wings. Where are those wings? You have wings. You've got wings. Imagine that. Where did you get wings? This little boy's. Hey, oh, I'm sorry. You got me with the hook down there, and I thought you were biting my shoe. I don't think that'll work. He's got the hook, and it's hooked around my shoelace. I don't know what you're doing there, buddy, but I don't think it'll work.
Who knows? So hello and welcome everybody. Good to see you.
We gotta put the focus on for our online meeting or we'll get disturbed. I forgot to do it. Yeah, come on. There we go. Hello, everyone. There's Cecil. We have KK, whose tongue is just about healed. He's showing up balsa wood like there's no tomorrow right now. And we have the headbanger, Mander. Hi, headbanger. He was gentle about it today, so just came up and tapped me lightly with his beak, so I petted him. Just don't tap me any harder than that, kid. Who else do we have? We have the Jasmine, Jazzy Jazzbird, and the Sugar Bird, Lucy,
All going
Snowball,
incognito.
Romeo. Yes, you are a good bird. Why did you call me George?
Oh my, that's basically the breaking news of today. KK calls Don George now.
I have no idea what that was all about. He said, "Hello, George." What? George who? You knew a George, did you? Hmm? Oh, yeah?
Who knows?
What a bird.
Yeah, maybe you resemble a George. He used to know.
Only one I know is from the cartoon. George, George, George of the jungle, friend of you and me. Watch out for that tree.
So now we have introduced the birds who are with us today. So let's greet some of our chatters. Rosebud Atkins was the first today. Hello and welcome. Then we have Tiki Tiki, German Jamie, Spirit Matter is here, Coven Thurston, and Falcon Sue, and Eleanor as well. So hello and welcome, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. What's going on down there? Found something to tear up, did you? I'm not surprised. That's Cecil for you. He's doing well too. He got his injections this morning, so I say injections. I have to put it in two spots because he tends to have. They all have thin skin, but he tends to bleed, so you have to put it. It's a lot of medicine, so it has to go into two spots. But he's happy about everything today, aren't you, there, big boy? Aren't you, there, big boy? Yeah, we're going to talk about wings. I was thinking about, this wing clipping thing that everybody argues about. Well, I remembered reading years ago an article up on a website by a group of college students that was students with birds. And it was an article on where they had done extensive research and put everything together. And by the time they give you the pros and cons, you realize at the end, there are only like one or two situations where you have to clip a bird. But both of those are where the bird is a danger to itself, and I'm not talking about flying out the door or anything like that, because the bird that's clipped can still fly. They just can't get back to you because they can't control their wings. But anyway, I have that article, so I'm going to try to go through it with you guys. So I remember when I read it, I thought, well, somebody actually put some brain power into this. But college students, that's what they do, right? They're into research and putting things together and discussing it, and they came up with a great article written by several different people, edited and that kind of thing. So I just it's just unnatural, the idea of clipping wings. This just makes no sense to me. But I mean, that's not an argument. That's just a feeling. So the arguments are much more important, right? Right, Mander? That's a Mander. KK what? KK wants what? Hmm? Yeah, I know. You're a lot happier now that I got that balsa wood came in. I had to order some balsa wood for him.
Mm.
And I swear, this is the only time that wholesaler I order from screws up is when I order something specific. They have these balls made out, they're called soap up, but they're made out of basically a sea creature. Anyway, they sent me one. I ordered a package, which I think was 12, and I got one. And they never do that because they have a minimum order, and it's always 12, 50, 100, 300, whatever. But it's okay. He got enough balsa wood, and he's happy with that. Yeah, aren't you? Aren't you? By the time we run out of that, he'll be ready to go back to regular wood. He's doing real well. So, and Cecil's doing fine. He's lost a tiny bit of weight, which is good because some of the weight he was gaining was not good. So he's going back down to his normal weight, it looks like, which is around 690. Right now he's at 710. Aren't you, boy? What, Mander? What, Mander? So I put all this on my watch, which is going to be fun because I had to split it into two sections because I want to read some of it. So it's not just me, but which one am I in? Am I in the beginning or the end? Oh, there we go. It starts out, we here at Students with Birds blog are firmly against clipping a parrot's wings unless in a medical situation. For instance, if you need to keep your bird from flying because he or she has an injury, clipping is harmful. Okay. They put a video up showing some of their birds, which are free flighted as well. But some people recommend that what they think is a less drastic solution, trimming the flight feathers of only one wing. And from the way it sounds, it should be. Clipping a single wing, however, is even worse than clipping both because of how lopsided it leaves them. They can't save themselves in a fall. But I mean, I always thought that one of the best ways to describe it is if you don't want your dog to run out the front door or your cat to run out the front door, just hamstring them so they can't walk right, and then they can't run out the door. It makes no sense at all. You simply make it so they can't get out the door, right? It's the same with birds. It's one of the other reasons, though, I recommend that people with children do not have a bird unless you have a child that has a thrall collar around its neck. So that if it gets near the front door and it forgets, your child forgets how to close the front door, it's like in Star Trek, the thing lights up and they fall to the ground in agony. Unless you have that, it's almost impossible to keep them. They just constantly open and close the door. Um, Now there are some that may just sit with their PS2 or whatever. with their Xbox, and they're less likely to go out. They don't even know there is an outside, right? They wouldn't know a stick if you put a label on it and went out and put it by a tree. They wouldn't know what a stick was. But if you've got a kid that goes outside, then it's definitely not a good idea. The other side of that, just as an aside, is that if you've got kids, the problem is the first time a child says, "Oh, the bird bit me," 9 times out of 10, a parent won't even look to see if there's a mark. I actually had that in my marriage. My stepdaughter said that Chloe bit her. She never bit anybody, but there wasn't a mark anywhere on her. And I looked, nothing. So I just called BS on that. And that was that. But of course, the mother was, well, if my daughter said, I said, yeah, right. I always believe children. You can believe what you want. But um, yeah, someone's happier. Can you tell?
Hmm. A happy
It's
KK
just a,
bird.
go to sleep, Siri. And it comes up at the worst times. In truth, the result of clipping is often serious injury, despite the fact that this is what owners seek to prevent by having done it. I have heard stories of devastated people whose clipped birds fell and couldn't save themselves, breaking multiple bones and needing expensive vet trips and treatments. If it ended that well, it doesn't have to be a severe clip. Even a light one can hinder a bird enough to cause injury. So, and there are plenty of records to that. This is the lead student here is talking. I had to teach my birds to fly. None of them knew how. And that's funny, a human teaching a bird to do something it was made to do. But I took to it in baby steps. We started with little hops and graduated to greater and greater distances until wing flaps were required. Once they mastered that, we moved around the room until our birds could ascend and descend with ease. There were spills and crashes throughout this, sure, but the end result is a flock of parrots who get a lot of joy from their ability and a feeling of security from it, too. Okay, then he goes on talking about you can take your birds out in carriers or cages, or you can take them outside like aviaries like this. Harnesses, not leg restraints though, because parrot's leg. Well, I'll give you an example. The first bird I encountered when I was living in San Diego, I encountered an Amazon that was missing its foot. So apparently they had chained it outside or something, and then it got scared and it ripped its foot off. I healed the bird, not knowing what I was doing. I had no knowledge of this stuff. I just took the bird, took it to the vet, worked with it until it was healed. All the time while its mate's trying to whack into the windows to get into to get back to its mate. Finally, we released it, it and its mate went off. But so you don't use something like that. The aviator harness is great for that. They also have a 40-foot leash. So you've got a nice wide park. You can fly that bird around. So once you teach them. So now the pros and cons. Reasons, these are the pros he lists that people always bring up. Okay. Number one, you don't want your bird to fly away from you. You want them dependent on you for literally everything. You don't want them to escape. You don't want them to fly into something and get hurt, AKA for safety reasons. You don't want them to bite you. You want to keep, they're afraid you're going to fly over and bite you in the face. That's something that KK faced. His last caretaker, who passed away sadly, and learned his lesson, clipped him because he was afraid he'd fly into his face and bite him. And I told RJ, I said, I got, or Michael, I said, "Y- you know, uh, if I had your face, I wouldn't worry about it. But same with my face. I mean, I don't want to die without any scars, but you want to keep them in or away from one place. You want to control hormones. These are some of the arguments for clipping. The cons. Clipped bird can't exercise and may have severe health issues due to this. Uh, Let me think. Fatty liver disease, anyone? Um, Insecurity arises from being clipped, resulting in more bites. If you have a fight or flight response and you can't fly away, what are you going to do? Right? I mean, if I mean, even you take a weak person and who doesn't like to fight, put them in a situation where either they fight or they're in a cornered. Well, guess what? They'll usually fight. Um, Clipping a bird before it fledges causes coordination issues in adulthood. Now, one thing I can say about Lorelei is that she was flying as soon as she could, and she's perfect at it. Yeah, she's a regular little airplane boy. She's more like a helicopter. Um, and because they're not coordinated, if they don't learn to fly when they're young, then that could be, result in injuries later, right? What do you have to say about that, KK? Hmm? Is he right so far? Clipping a previously flighted parrot may result in depression, increased aggression, and anxiety. Oh, golly gee, did we have any of that? Yeah, we did. Yeah, when he got clipped, which I was telling his caretaker at the time, don't do it. He was up in Alaska. I said, don't do it, Michael. Don't have him clipped. Well, he did, and then he got more aggressive and also more fearful. Well, the fear was what was pushing the aggression. There's no way he could get away. You're stuck. So, um, birds that are clipped have poor balance and can hurt themselves in a fall. Oh, Romeo, how about you over there? I've seen him try to go from perch to perch and fall. He doesn't usually he can catch himself. He doesn't fall all the way down, but he'll dangle upside down for a while until he can right himself. When he
Mm.
moves, he's cautious about his moving. So a clipped bird can still get away from you if he finds an open window. All they need is one draft from outside and they're gone, maybe for miles. It's unnatural. I mean, a three-legged dog isn't natural. You've seen them, and they can get around. Some of them do pretty well with three legs. I've even seen dachshunds who've lost their back because of their back. They've lost the function in their tail end, but they go around on scooters. Smart dogs, so they adapt, but it's not natural. And clipping the wings is not natural, right? I know. Petting the bird is natural. That's what you think. Petting the bird is natural. These are the pros. Flight is the bird's main source of exercise. That's been proven. That wasn't the intent of the archaeobiologist who was studying how birds developed flight. But what he found out is that they really don't use much at all of their metabolism until they're actually flying. And that's when they really get their exercise. Like me, an old man, 71, you get to a certain point, you can't eat anything and you're afraid to exercise. So, if you don't get the exercise, though, things start going wrong. You get into your 70s, if you're not getting good exercise, you're going to like bend over to pick up something and you hear pop, 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 pop. And what that is little air pockets along your spine that develop because the ligaments are not as tight to the spine as they should be. So these guys, that's where they get their exercise. So now, another thing too is when they fly, it burns off energy. It's like that story I tell about the dog that kept attacking the new cat in the house. So finally, they took the dog outside and did what we call a motivational operation. The dog loved to play fetch. Well, they played fetch with the dog until it just couldn't move. Its tongue was hanging out, and it was so tired. They brought it inside. Then they took the cat out. Cat doesn't have any problem with the dog. Dog couldn't get up. And that set the mood for the future. And if the dog started showing any kind of slight aggression towards the cat, they just did it again. outside, play with that dog until they can't move. So it's the same thing with a bird. If you exercise them, you're going to remove some of that aggression. So flighted birds are generally happier. Lorelei's pretty happy, except she has the feather destructive behavior, but that has nothing to do with you know being flighted or unflighted. It has to do with the way she was bred. But and birds feel more confident about interacting with you if they think they can get away when they feel intimidated. That again, that's that flight or flight response. If they can't get away, well, they're not going to be as comfortable around you, right? Right, KK? Isn't that right? Yeah. Tell them all about it. Tell them all about it. Rah, 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 rah.
What a cutie pie.
Rah, 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 rah.
So maybe one of the birds can send some greetings to Scotland. Eleanor lost pretty much her voice today.
Oh no, that's not good. The only time that's good is when you're being forced to get up and give a lecture or something you don't want to do. Um,
You do
and
it
that's
the first 5 minutes until everybody agrees
yeah.
to stop it.
But I know that's not the case with Eleanor. She's good at giving talks. So well, get
Mhm.
better there, Eleanor. I'd send KK over to talk to you, but he seems to be kind of stuck liking it here.
And Rosebud is also still suffering from a cough. So, also healing
Oh,
thoughts to you.
you too, Rosebud. Feel better, kid. So he goes through, kind of repeats himself here to get the idea through where he's talking about what the group came up with, right? A flighted parrot can potentially injure himself. That's not likely. These guys, if you watch them fly, they know what they're doing, boy. They can fly better than we can walk. So, and a good example is there's a hawk up the family of hawks up in that one tree. Well, I saw one of them fly right down. He got within about a foot of this aviary and just spun around and went away. Well, he was flying pretty fast when he did that. So that midair spin and reverse when they see that you can't get through, that's you don't really have to worry about that. They can move around and go to places you don't want them to be. Well, if you've got a bird and they've got wings, you have to kind of find a way to arrange your house, right? So that they're not going to go to some place you don't want. Once in a while, one of these guys will get up in the kitchen way up on top, and I have to, get a step stool, get up there and get them. But that's okay. They're not going to get hurt up there. Hi, sweetie. Hi, beautiful. Okay. Okay. Yes, he's much happier now that he's got wood. Boy, he was unhappy with chewing on cardboard all the time, weren't you? I know. Bird, bird, bird. I know. A KK bird? What kind of bird? KK bird. Yeah. I hope you guys can hear that.
Why? I actually couldn't
So
hear it, but I felt it.
yeah, I wish we could do something about that. It's just the only way is to you have to run it off the computer, and then if something goes wrong, you have to go back inside to fix it. I might just Well, I guess I could put a station. I hadn't thought about that. I could put a station outside and try to do that. Might work. Because I'd like you guys to hear the birds. Let me see. Where were we? Yeah, the last thing he brings up, the bird can potentially escape from the house. That can happen regardless of whether they're trimmed. So they can still fly. And if they did a trim where they can't fly at all, they did it wrong. And that's going to cause injury. If you trim those wings improperly, then it can cause permanent injury. It might lead to blood feathers situations where the bird bleeds to death or has to be taken to the vet, or you have to learn how to use a hemostat. Flight is important to the emotional well being of any parrot. Okay, debunking common arguments for clipping a parrot's wings. Argument: a parrot is less likely to step up nicely if fully flighted. He can just zip off and do whatever he likes. Counter argument: there are two parts to this. The idea, one, the idea that you want them to do what you want when you want it. And two, that's why we train our birds. A well trained but fully flighted parrot steps up because he feels that he gets something out of it, not because he's your little pawn, right? Or she's your little pawn. Offering praise and a treat is the best way to reinforce this behavior. Generally, a parrot wants to be with you. If not, you have to teach them being near you or with you is a desirable outcome for them. Verdict on argument: no, clipping is not needed, but training a certain amount of patience are. And excuse me, but training and a certain amount of patience are. If you're not a patient person and you want things instantly, go to McDonald's, don't get a parrot, right? So, although they're not that instant. If you really want fast service, you go to In and Out. Argument two: clipping is said to be a must for safety's sake. Okay, I have to hold on a moment. I've got to go to my second part because it won't all fit on my watch. All right, counter argument. Your parrot is a free thinking creature with amazing intelligence. He likes to do what he wants when he wants to, and definitely doesn't like the idea of you forcing him to do anything. Giving your bird choice, or at least the illusion of it, via training makes them happy. Happy birds don't bite as much. Clipping your bird's wings because you don't want them to move around without your permission is done for human convenience, and in all seriousness, adopting a hamster, fish, cat, or dog if the idea of autonomous pet alarms you. Argument: clipping a parrot's wings needs to be done for taming purposes. He needs to be completely dependent on you. Counter argument: absolutely not. To tame your parrot, you need to move slowly. You're walking in front of my watch. Can't read. Um, you need to move slowly and give things time and do the training. Yes, you want the bird tame and to, you have to move at his or her pace. Clipping means your bird can't get away. Therefore, they are left with only one option: to bite, and bite they will. As to be completely dependent on you, giving your bird his food, treats, and a clean place to live is enough. You don't want to create helplessness in your birds. Instead, for the healthiest and happiest animal possible, you need to teach independence. A well trained parrot can self amuse and does not need you 24/7. He's fine as long as I throw him a few of these pieces of balsa wood. Now they're 12 inches long, and he goes through one in about 5 minutes, but he's perfectly happy as long as he has that and he can play around. So, if a bird needs you 24/7, you're in for behavioral problems later when you're suddenly not able to provide for that need. Biting, screaming, plucking, you name it. Plucking, of course, can be stimulated by this kind of thing, but that's not the cause of it. Clipping is for taming purposes done for you, not for your bird. If you want your bird to bite less, give them the option of getting away if they're getting scared. Choice is important for a happy bird. And you'll find Americans who get in a job and they can't get out of it. They don't really have the choice to leave because then they'd be, living on the street without a home. That's not real choice, and so that causes a lot of depression. So, but these guys, you don't want that to happen. Too often, people would rather clip their birds' wings than train them or get along in a human to get along in a human home. Others are simply misinformed, thinking that a clip will help a parrot more than it will hinder. I want to point out that these animals are designed in every way to fly. They have an amazing respiratory system that pumps oxygen into their organs with super efficiency, have hollow bones and feathers that are engineered to help them aloft when they should to keep them aloft instead of being land bound like us. The attitude needs to be, if you're not willing to try a life with a flighted bird and attempt the training that comes with that, consider a different kind of pet that doesn't have wings. Parrots are autonomous, intelligent, beautiful creatures who need a huge amount of time and training. And it's true that our pet parrots are wild. They are wild, but we get them usually when they're tame, but they have all the instincts of a wild bird and the physical necessities of one. So I'll put the whole article up for you, but that's the gist of it.
All right. We have a comment from Facebook from David Wohlbrück. Says, please tell me how to send stars. Sorry, I'm a bit illiterate on this. Yeah, me too. I'm not even on Facebook, but maybe Don knows
Uh,
how to send stars or
uh
somebody
maybe
else
some
in chat.
maybe somebody in chat can do that because I don't honestly know. I think there's just a button there that where you hit a star and it does it, but I don't go on Facebook much either. Um, I have a lot of birds that require my care, so if I focus on just a few areas. YouTube being where we do YouTube and Patreon are the two areas I focus the most on. A little bit on Telegram. If we have more people on Telegram, that's a better platform. But people are afraid of it because I guess it's because it's not controlled by the government. Big Brother isn't personally recommending it. I don't know why they don't like Telegram, but what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you want?
Enjoying the view. And yeah, Amanda wants some pets. The
This one's
sky
going to,
looks a little bit cloudy today at your place.
yeah, it's not so much clouds. That's called not good air quality. We're right at the borderline
Oh,
on air quality for it's mostly PM10. It's not the P25. So PM 2.5, which is really bad for their lungs. This will go in and it'll irritate their lungs, but it comes right back out. So but yeah, this is bad air quality more than clouds. There are some clouds up there, but pretty thin. Right, right, right.
rup, rup, rup.
What you
Look at
doing
all
way over
these
there?
funny birds. Somebody chewing the chair. Cecil?
Hey. No, that's KK.
KK. Oh,
KK,
KK is
what are
off.
you doing? Romeo, what are you doing?
Oh, Gem and Jemmy writes in chat, I just tried pulling up Telegram on Google and I keep getting a 404 not found error. Have they put it down?
If you just put Telegram space app, Telegram app, then you'll find it. Believe me, Google doesn't want you to know about it. It's typical. Anything where you actually have a free forum where people can say what they or hear what the government might not want you to hear, Google will do everything to try to hide it. But if you put Telegram spaced app, you'll find it. Also, you can find it on Google Play or on the Apple App Store. It's available for everything from Linux to uh, to Mac, to the phone, to every kind of phone that's made. I won't say every kind. I'm not sure that you can do it on a Huawei phone. Probably, but I'm not sure. Yeah, if you want to bypass mainstream media and find out the truth of what's going on, you got to. It's like everything else. You got to get into a lot of different forums there, but they're pretty much anything you would want to talk about is available up there, including parrots, and we're on there under Chloe's Sanctuary. So
I
I
just looked up how to send stars on Facebook. So the current state of the art step by step guide says navigate to a creator's content like a live video, reel, or post. Click the star icon next to the comment box. Select the number of stars you want to send and click send. But I know how
sounds.
complicated it can be because on YouTube they change the buttons where you can do stuff all the times. So you
Oh
don't
yeah,
get anything new, you just have to look for the buttons again.
yeah. I'm finding that true of Apple things too. I'm a computer guy, so I mean, I used to do it as a living, and
Oh, yeah,
I'll
actually,
ask
I should really go into software programming and then just basically my main job is hide the buttons.
pretty much, yeah. So I'll look up something and as how it's supposed to be done on app
I
on a
think that
particular.
must be pretty easy to implement, basically changing the position of the button randomly within the page. I
Oh,
mean,
geez,
I
I
know what
wouldn't.
I'm going to do today
Uh,
after we
sounds
get the
pretty.
live stream.
Sounds pretty much like Apple's been doing. But I'll get instructions from ChatGPT, and it's got what it thinks are the latest, but there's something that just changed. I mean, it's just constant, and reminds me of Microsoft because it was always that way with Microsoft. Although they never really changed anything down below. It's like you've got this old lumbering sail ship, that barely can go on the water, but you keep putting a fresh coat of paint on it and putting on different sails. That's Microsoft. So, but Apple's doing a lot of the same things. So I'm looking for a way around an issue, and eventually I just say have to kind of think about it myself, and say, how could I find a way around this? Which is what I used to do when I was sitting in someone's house trying to fix a computer problem. Right, right, boy. Yeah. This one's going to be learning to fly soon. The air is good tomorrow. I will probably take him out, and I've got a 40-foot leash, and I'm going to get him in an aviator harness, and I probably only fly him a foot or two, but get him outside, get him flying from a perch over to my hand, and then eventually I want to fly him like in which I can do out here, fly him in a 20 or 30-foot circle. Right? You have to watch it though, because there's hawks up there. You have to keep an eye on it. Face the trees at all times, right? But he needs to do that for his fatty liver disease. Get some exercise in. We haven't had any comments about flight being flighted or not, or clipping wings, but I know it's a highly controversial subject. The problem is the people, for the most part, those who think that they should be clipped are doing it in their minds for the right reasons, but it doesn't work out for the bird. And it doesn't actually do the things they think it does. It makes the bird more clumsy, makes the bird more likely to fly. In fact, there was a bird that got lost when I was in Fallbrook, and they couldn't get it out of the tree. It wouldn't fly down. It had been clipped, so it had caught the wind and got up. And the wind wasn't that great that day. I don't know, 5 or 6 miles an hour or something like that. But it was up in the tree, and it wouldn't fly down. And there's the part too, you have to fly them from different heights because things look differently from different heights. And the best illustration I have from that comes from Colin Turnbull's book, The Forest People, and he lived with the Bambuti, the pygmies in the Oturi Forest in Kenya for 2 years, and he took one of them. They don't go out of the forest except in one other situation, and they don't go that far out. So he took one way up on top of this hill where they don't go, and he showed him the elephants down below. And the pygmy's response was small elephant, like saying those are tiny elephants. And of course, Colin couldn't explain that it was perspective, distance, because they were looking at it from way up. So they just walked down. Actually, pygmies don't walk. They ran down to where the elephant was, and then from then on, the perspective was in his head. Same thing with the bird. Once it gets up somewhere high, and then you get them back down, they will know. If you call them, they'll be able to come down. Otherwise, it looks like small human being, or in other words, they see you from an angle they don't recognize you like they should. So, and it would work the same for us if we had never seen from that perspective. If you've been on top of a skyscraper and you look down, they just don't look like people down there. They are, but the first time seeing it's like, what are those little things move? Oh, those are people.
Hi, Shugi. So
Yeah, I
let
think.
me read another comment from David. I follow you on YouTube and Facebook. Please let me know how to help the most. Fixed income, but you have helped me one-on-one in the past and would like to help however I can. So thanks for that.
Yeah, just shoot an email through our website, and there's always different things that can be done. We'll figure something out. You can help.
I've also put the Linktree link in the YouTube chat. And if you want to find our Linktree, basically Google Linktree and Chloe Sanctuary. On the Linktree, there are all the social media donation options, merchandise, website listed, and keep up
Oh,
to date most of the time.
yeah.
Sometimes we miss that a link is invalid. Then we're happy when we get noticed. But yeah, so you can write down an email or go to our Linktree. We're really grateful for all your help.
Yeah, I just had someone call. Some of the calls you get, right? I got a call from a lady who said she wanted a cockatoo. And so, uh, before I got into, we don't have birds that we do not do we do sanctuary, not rescue. I tried, I asked her why, and it was because, oh, she'd seen some. This is one of those conversations where it's not going to go well. I said, well, you realize they're quite loud, right? Oh, that's the thing I like the most. I'm like, oh boy, there we got somebody who doesn't have any clue what I'm saying. So I tried to describe how if you are listening to something that is screeching every 2 seconds at 125 decibels and it won't stop, this could be a problem for you. And it was like you could hear the wind whistling through her ears. It's like kind of like that, when people are, I'm in love, and then 2 years later they're in divorce court. It's that kind of thing. And I know I didn't get through to her. I mean, I told her where she could go. I told her Peace, PEAC, in San Diego, and they require that you take their classes. So you're not just going to get a bird. So this woman needs to be educated. She didn't want to be. As soon as she found out that we didn't do that, you could tell she wanted off the phone because she's just going to keep calling until she gets one. Worst kind of person to get to get a cockatoo, just because I want a cockatoo. Yeah. What do you want? Do you know anything about them? I mean, I asked, have you studied the species? No. Oh, no, they're just beautiful. Uh-huh. Yeah. So are tigers. Tigers are beautiful. They are. I'd hate to have a tiger box in the house, but. Tigers are they're beautiful. I'm not the kind of thing you're going to want in your house. You need to know what you're asking for, but I actually thought the phone call coming through, because it comes through on a special line. I thought it was going to be another one of these people saying your Google listing is, and I just hang up on these people. But turns out to be somebody who's probably going to cause another poor cockatoo to suffer. And I mentioned, you can see our videos and learn. She didn't want that. All she wants is to get a cockatoo. Never read a book on the subject? No, she's never read anything. She doesn't know the first thing about cockatoos. I think I would have rather had the spammer because I could have just hung up. But it's kind of my job to try to explain. But that's like you ever seen the little child with a finger in its ears going na 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 because they don't want to hear? That's what I was dealing with. But all of you guys who've been around parrots know that it's something that you have to learn to deal with. One thing I found, and I hated to do it, but I found that the only earbuds that work are those Apple ones, because the rest of them say that they block the sound, but they really don't block that much of it. So and then they make your voice sound horrible when you talk. I mean, you can get a set of earbuds for $40, but if you really want to protect your hearing, that you need to get those. And then you can do a hearing test too. It's not much fun when you do one if you've been around birds for a while, because you find out that you've lost quite a bit of hearing. But I know I talk louder than I need to, especially when I look at the volume dials. But
Mhm.
it sounds good to me, so who cares, right? That's like the lady. Oh, I just want a cockatoo. I saw one. I just really want one. Oh.
Hmm.
How do you
So
talk to some? How do you talk to someone like that? Anybody else have any ideas? I mean, basically, it's like talking to a wall, talking to somebody. I'm in love.
mm, we haven't done the movie quote yet. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
basically running all the time, but you haven't read it so that Rosebud also can hear it.
I think Rosebud knows this one. Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. It's the right day to do that, right? The 5th of November.
Today is the 5th of November, indeed.
Indeed. Not in all places of the world, but it is here. So
Yeah.
we cross that international date line, it'll be something else. I never really wanted to do that when I was in the Navy, because if you haven't crossed it, they tend to throw you overboard. You think I'm kidding too, but no. Common practice to dunk you. They used to ages ago. They would keel haul you. They would take you with a rope and drag you under the ship. That used, but then now the ships are too big for that. And you got those screws down there turning, so they just kind of throw you in the water.
And we get a lot of comments rushing in. First was Falcon Zoo. All I can think of is that the movie is something about Guy Fawkes. Well, have I pronounced it right? Guy
Hmm.
Fawkes?
Yep.
Okay. Then Spirit Matter says it's Guy Fawkes Day. And Rosebud guesses V for Vendetta.
Yep. V for Vendetta. I know we've done this one before, but we had to do it today because that that is the focus point in the beginning of the movie. So Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Romeo, how you doing over there, bud? Snowball, don't get too close to him. He may look like a cockatoo, but he's part chicken, okay? That's what happens if you have a bird that's got permanent clipped wings. Hi, KK. At least you didn't call me George.
Why not? George.
George was a love and do you and me. I know, KK. Yeah, I know. I took all those toys out. Well, look, I'm about sure that your peak is done. I'll hang up some of the other kind of wood for you next time. Some of the balsa wood. Okay, bird. Yeah. Hi, Rome.
Oh, Romeo came down.
Well, he's not too happy about Snowball getting close to him. It
Yeah, I
doesn't.
saw him in the corner, and now he basically, yeah, he cannot fly, only downwards. Poor boy. Did he climb down?
Yeah, that veterinarian who did that, I think that there's probably a special spot in a warm place for him after he passes. He or
But
she,
Cecil
whatever
is
vet
so
did
sweet
that.
how he wants to encourage Romeo. Oh no, the next umbrella comes down. Poor Romeo. He is like, oh no, I'm such an introvert. All these other umbrellas. So, um, Richie the cockatoo just joined us. So hello, good to see you.
Hello.
Um, and from David Woolbrook, he says, I am mostly deaf, however, my hearing aids shut off at a certain level. God bless you for speaking truth instead of all the cute cuddly videos. Most of my birds are given to my care by people who had no clue about reality.
Yeah, I've always thought that people who are hard of hearing or deaf would be the best people to have birds because they're not going to get upset by this the screeching. And they're just naturally loud, so yeah. I mean, they really need to fly. So I'm going to start with Cecil and start training all these birds to come outside and do a loop. So what I'll probably start doing while I can, while the weather's good, which we should have for a while, bringing them out, flying them for a minute, 5 minutes or something, then putting them in the aviary, get the next bird, take it out and fly it. The ones that will be able to fly. Romeo can't, of course, but and Mander can't fly. Sugar could. Lizzie could now. KK can. Snowball definitely can fly. Jasmine can fly.
Jasmine,
Oh,
she's queen
Jasmine's a
of she's queen of Flappy.
yeah, she can fly. She's you let her go, she'll go taking off through the house.
Oh, so she just pretends to be a grounded bird.
Yeah, she's not. She knows how to fly.
We have a question from Spirit Better. What's that tattoo on Dawn's leg?
Oh, that's a
Tell us,
I did
George.
that myself. It's actually a tattoo gun. It's a graphic of a tattoo gun.
Mm-hmm.
I was being wild and crazy one day and decided I would tattoo myself.
Rosebud asks, does Pippa fly?
Oh yeah, like the wind. You got to hold onto her feet tightly when you take her out of here. I do that with all of them, but with her, I also put my arm around her wings because she really wants to go for a flight and come back. She does, but thing is, I think she
Mhm.
would come back, but I'm not taking any chances with her. I will put her in a harness, but that's, I mean, she'll just take off and fly for, she could probably fly for half an hour without getting tired. That one, she's probably the first one I should take out just because I know she'll have a good time at it and it'll make me feel better. That's one thing you can train yourself too. If I take her out, put her in the harness, get her flying around a bit, I'll feel better about training the rest of them. You give yourself a good experience, right?
Mhm. So first, Eleanor, I think she agrees with me, and I agree with her that we need an
Byron.
episode about George tattoos at some point. Yeah, I think once a while we can do a fun episode with that kind of topics. Then Giselle says, I would love to have a big indoor space to train Caesar to fly. I would be fearful to try that outside. With an aviator harness, there shouldn't be a problem,
Mm.
especially when there are no big predator birds around where you live.
Yeah, and with
Mm,
the leash, that's the thing you can have. Hi, Romeo. Well, I love you too. You want to come over? No, because Cecil's on my lap, you don't want to. Mm. Hey, baby.
and
Yeah, with
then,
an
where have you flown them before? So in the old sanctuary, they flew just around the socialization room, and then sometimes in the night room, I think, or in the
the aviary.
day room. Yes.
Yep.
So I think they also had some perches on the ceiling. Yeah, and they just flew, and now in the new sanctuary inside, there is a really long stretched hallway where they actually can fly. I think some already did, like
Yeah, well, they
Pipars
do. They do,
who
and I encourage it. So,
mhm.
but it's a long, yeah, it's like a bowling alley. It really is. There's a lot of area there to fly. But when you get an aviator harness on them and you get a 40-foot leash, you don't have to let all 40 feet out. But I mean, the point is you can fly them around pretty. You can do a 6-foot circle, or you can then build it out from that. Or you can have them flying from one area all the way over to you because you've got all that extra room. So here I can put it out one end of the yard and fly it over. The trick there though is I have to watch because we do have hawks. So got to be careful with that. But
Mhm. Exactly. Be careful with wild animals that could be around, but also with other people's pet animals like dogs or cats. So just check out that there's nothing in the area or at the moment around when you do that, and then
there you go.
things should go well. One never knows.
Yeah.
Birds usually show you with their eyes in which direction they point to what they're interested in. So some might be interested to fly in some nearby tree or in the open window of your neighbor. Who never knows?
Well, folks, it's that time. Thanks, Amy, for moderating, and thanks, Eleanor, for being here and uh, being our voiceless companion. Get well quickly. And you too, Rosebud, get well. And who's going to say goodbye? Romeo, you can say goodbye? Actually, Romeo doesn't say goodbye. He says, I love you.
I love you. Mm.
I love you. I love you. I love you, Rome. I can't bend over like this all day, though. I'll start walking around to one side. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Romeo Bird. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Next
Have a good
week.
time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.